Very good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Nikhil Sharma. I'm going to conduct a seminar. The topic which I have chosen is nuclear chemistry. Nuclear chemistry, as you all know what the nuclear chemistry is, nothing to say much more about the basic concept or the definition of nuclear chemistry, though I will take the definition, I will go through it. So, these are the contents on which I'm going to conduct this today's session. So different kinds of nucleus, relation between them, types of radioactive rays, radioactive disintegration, types of radioactive decays, half-life period, average life period. Okay, that's it for the today's session. Then what is the nuclear chemistry? Nuclear chemistry is nothing but the chemistry which deals with the prominently deals with the radioactivity, the nuclear reactions, nuclear processes and their mechanisms and transformation in the nuclei of atoms. Okay, so nuclear chemistry is nothing but the chemistry whose prominently deals with the radioactivity and their reactions, nuclear reactions, processes and mechanisms. So now we will see the basic information with the modern concepts. Basic information with the modern concepts. See, what is a fundamental particle? If anyone asks us that what is a fundamental particle or fundamental elementary particles of an atom, then most of us, no doubt, will reply them that are proton and neutrons. But nowadays, this is not correct. The proton and the neutron concept as a fundamental particle to consider them was an old concept, and now it is replaced by a quark. Okay, so it is replaced by a quark. Now if anyone asks you that which is the fundamental particle, elementary particle of an atom, then you should reply him as a quark. So how many types of quark are there? There are all 6 types of quark: up quark, down quark, strange quark, charm quark, bottom quark and top quarks. So there it is, denotation are also given. Then their charges I have also noted here, that plus 2 by 3 and minus 1 by 3, each of one, either they have plus 2 by 3 charge or minus 1 by 3 charge. Now if you ask that, if anyone asks you that then what is a proton and neutrons, if they were considered as an elementary particle, then what are they now? They are nothing but they are the combinations of the quarks. Okay, different quarks. Proton consists of 2 up quark and 1 down quark. If we put the charges here, then we will get the 1. That means 1 is nothing but the positive charge of the protons. And the neutron is consists of 2 down quark and 1 up quark, and they are also, we get, after putting the values of the charges, we get 0 0. That means neutron is neutral. Neutron doesn't have any charges. Okay, then see, this is a very basic concept that I'm taking here, are focusing on that, how to symbolize the nucleus. How to symbolize the nucleus, it is a very basic concept. We are dealing with the nucleus or the elements since from our ninth standard. Okay, I think yeah, ninth standard, 9th or 10th standard maybe. So this is very important as per the nuclear chemistry is concerned, because in nuclear chemistry we are prominently dealing with the neutron number, their mass number and their nucleus. Okay, nucleus, it is it is a term used in nuclear chemistry in spite of using the atom or elements. So don't get confused about the using of the nucleus term here. Then how to symbolize the nucleus? Nucleus is always symbolized by x, that is any element we have taken here. Then we denote the proton number on the in subscript on the left side, and in superscript there is a mass number c. Most of the people who do mistake here, that they consider that this a is an atomic mass number, but it is not an atomic mass number, it is a mass number. There is a difference between atomic mass and mass number. Atomic mass number, it could be fractional. Okay, but mass number never could be fraction, it always be whole number, because it is a sum of the proton and neutron, and atomic mass number is taken as a relative mass as compared to the carbon 12. So it was basic concept, and if we have to return a neutron number, then it will be written on the right side in the subscript. Then we will go further, the different kinds of the nucleus are there: isotopes, isotones, isobars and isomers. I don't think that I should focus on the isotopes, because we everyone here knows what are the isotopes is, but still I will just go through it. The species that having the same number of protons but different number of neutrons, that means isotopes. Okay, the example is also given there. Now isotone is somewhat new concept for us. Okay, isotone. So isotone is nothing but the exact opposite of the isotopes. Don't worry about that, don't be afraid of that. What are the isotones? Isotones are nothing but the exact opposite of the isotopes. That means same neutron number but different proton number. Example, helium and hydrogen. You can take helium or hydrogen nucleus as an example. They are having same number of neutron but different number of protons. Then isobar is there. Isobar, what is isobar? The same mass number but different proton and neutron number. They are having different proton and neutron number but having same mass number. So example, nitrogen and carbon nucleus. Okay, so they having mass number 14, both having mass number 14, but their neutron and proton number vary. Isomer, what are the isomers? Isomer are nothing but they having same mass number, same proton number, same neutron number, but just with the one difference is there, that is they lie in a different excited states. Okay, they lie in a different excited state and with the opposite spin, or okay, different spin, different nuclear spin. So example, cobalt 60 m is nothing but the metastable state. Then types of radioactive rays. How many types of radioactive rays are there? There are three: alpha, beta and gamma rays. Okay, as you can see, this is the arrangement of the experiment done by the Rutherford, that he passed these rays emitted from the radioactive substance through a very strong electric field, and what he observed that some rays were deflected on the negative part of the photographic plate, and some get deflected on the positive part, and some were not deflected by any on the either side of the photographic plate. So the rays who get deflected on the negative part of the plate, he considered them as a alpha rays, and who get deflected on the positive side of the photographic plate, he know them as a beta rays, and rest of the rays who did not deflect on the either side of the photographic plate, he considered them as a characterized them as a gamma rays. So these are the properties given of the alpha rays, beta rays and gamma rays. So beta rays are very high with very high velocity, and gamma rays is the highest velocity. Gamma rays having highest velocity. Okay, they can achieve the velocity as the light has. So these are the properties, and also gamma rays having the highest penetration power, so it can penetrate to the very large thickness of the matter. Then radioactive disintegration. What is radioactive disintegration? Radioactive disintegration is nothing but is the process through which the heavier or bulkier, or what I can say, more mass elements get break down into the new fresh radioactive elements, or radioactive nucleus they form, and the original disappears and a new one is formed, and this is reactions continuously or spontaneously is going and going, just it is continuing without any break. So this entire process of breaking of a heavier radioactive substance into the newer forming the fresh new one, so this all reaction is known as radioactive disintegration or radioactive decay. It is also known as radioactive decay, and this process stops where the inactive element lead is formed. Okay, so till the inactive element lead is formed, the reaction goes on. There is nothing much to get in detail about radioactive disintegration. Now we will see the types of radioactive disintegration or types of radioactive decays. There are four types of radioactive decays, out of which one is alpha decay, and or rest of the three are the substituent of the beta decays. So alpha decay, there is nothing but the emission of the two proton and two neutron from the nucleus of an radioactive element is happening here in alpha decay. So that the emission of that two proton and two neutron alpha particle is nothing but the helium nucleus. You can consider it as a helium nucleus. The reaction, as you can see on this slide, that radon 88 is get converted to radium 88 get converted to radon 86 plus 2 alpha 24, that alpha 24 is nothing but a helium nucleus. Okay, then second is a beta decay. In beta decay, what is the concept of beta decay? In this, the beta is nothing but a negative electron get emitted by the nucleus, and here the atomic number get increased by 1 unit. Okay, here the atomic number get increased by 1 unit, so carbon is getting converted to nitrogen 7. So this is the reaction. Then positron emission is the same as the beta decay, but the difference is that here the atomic number get decreased by 1 unit. So sodium 11 get converted to neon 10, plus emission of the positive electron here, positive electron in positron. Positive electron is known as positron. Okay, now, and the fourth one is electron capture decay. It is also the third type of beta decay, in which the atomic number decreased by 1 unit and is a positron emission. One of the atomic electron, mostly k shell electrons, are incorporated spontaneously into the nucleus. Okay, so, and you can see the Q in the each reaction. This Q is nothing but the disintegration energy. Okay, disintegration energy or radioactive disintegration energy, because there is something energy released in the reaction, na? So that's denoted by Q. There is again one decay disintegration process there, that is spontaneous fission. Spontaneous fission is nothing but, see, we have studied the disintegration processes, but there were the one radioactive element substance get converted to only one single nucleus. Okay, it forms a single nucleus or radioactive substance. But in here spontaneous fission, we can see that there is the formation of two or more nucleus here. Okay, by disintegrating one radioactive substance, we form two or more nucleus here. So example, like you can see californium 98 get converted to xenon 54, and it gives us again ruthenium 44, plus the emission of 4 neutron is there. Okay, so that's it about the disintegration constant or disintegration reactions or types of disintegration decays or radioactive decays. Okay, then half-life period is there. This is an important one. Half-life period is what the time taken by any radioactive substance to disintegrate its half portion. Okay, time taken by any radioactive substance to disintegrate its half portion is known as half-life period, denoted by T1 by 2. This is the equation, the derivation of the half-life period, that is n equals to n naught e raised to power minus lambda t. This is a decay equation. And if we put the values of t1 by 2 here, so n equals to n naught by 2, n naught by 2 equals n naught e raised to power lambda t 1 by 2, and if we further solve it, we will get lambda t 1 by 2 equals to log 2e, and log 2 to the base e is nothing but its value is 0.6931. So if we put this value here, we will get t1 by 2 final equation as t1 by 2 equals 0.6931 upon lambda, and lambda is disintegration constant. So this is the final equation of the half-life period. By knowing the value of the lambda, we can find out the half-life period of that particular radioactive substance. Okay, then there is a concept average life period, denoted by small l. Average life period is also known as life expectancy. Average life period is nothing but the reciprocal of the disintegration constant. It is the reciprocal of disintegration constant. By putting the value of that T1 by 2 in here, in this reaction, in this equation, we will find that its value going to become that 1 upon 0.6931 into 10 T1 by 2. That we get final equation as an average life period, that is related with the half-life period, that is L equals 1.44 into T1 by 2. So what exactly the average life period? Average life period is nothing but 1.44 times the half-life period. It is 1.44 times the half-life period. Okay, so these are the reference given from which I have chosen this topic. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for ma'am for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.